We've been discussing how the elements of design are used to create the proper context of a play production for the main art object of theater, dramatic action. Last time, we looked at how a simple line could establish mood, communicate emotional content, and other subtle information to an audience. We will continue our discussion here by considering another element of design, mass. Mass relates to the amount of matter there is in an object. For the purposes of visual design for the theater, we will also reference the element of mass to consider dimension, space, and shape. One of the goals of visual design for the theater is to create a sense of dimension. In the most traditional theater space, the proscenium arch, the physical relationships, being the performance and audience, are located directly across from each other, creates a flat, two-dimensional effect. A designer wants to use objects and elements to create an illusion of appropriate height, width, and depth. Designers do this with the objects they put on the stage, as well as the shapes they create. As with line, the direction and character of the way mass is used on stage can communicate both consciously and subconsciously to the audience. Let's see how. If a design uses tall, slender mass, this can convey a sense of grandeur. Gothic architecture attempts to create this sense with its use of tall, slender steeples. A designer that uses low, horizontal shapes on stage can create a sense of oppression in that environment. A designer can intentionally use flat shapes to create a two-dimensional feel. This can be used for fantasies or theatrically styled plays. Naturally, if a play is styled realistically, a designer will want to use three-dimensional objects and place them in such a way that they will create the maximum illusion of depth on the stage. A designer for both settings and costumes will use elements of line and mass together in coordination to convey information to the audience on both a conscious and subconscious level. Another important element of design is the element of texture. Texture is the relative roughness or smoothness of a surface. A designer can use a specific material with the desired texture, or they can create the illusion of a desired texture through painting techniques. For instance, there is a painting technique called dry brushing that can create the illusion of a wood surface. So even though the surface may, in fact, be smooth, the illusion created is that of a rough wood surface. Texture can have varying and nuanced effects on the audience. But in simple terms, a designer can either use a rough texture or create the illusion of a rough texture to create a sense of simplicity or poorness. It may also convey a lack of refinement in the environment if used in a set design, or a lack of character if it's used in a costume design. On the other hand, if a designer creates a smooth surface, this can create a sense of grace or refinement, either in environment or character. Designers naturally like to mix textures so they can achieve a unique and creative effect. The next element of design, ornament, can also create a sense of poorness or grace and sophistication. Simply defined, ornament is an extension of the basic design. It is often used to embellish a design or image. A lack of ornament can suggest simplicity or poorness. The more ornament added to a set or costume design, the more there is a sense of grace or sophistication. An overabundance of ornament can suggest ostentation or an over-the-top quality. The use of ornament can create a visual motif. A motif is a repeated theme, a term often associated with music. A motif can create a sense of movement on stage or on a costume. Notice how the ornament on this costume repeats the theme. Here is an example of how ornament can create a motif on a set, moving the eye easily around the environment. That leaves us with only one more element of design to consider. But for now, it's time to go to your task for this section. and we will complete our discussion of the elements of design.